Hi, I'm Ashley from Sunnymead, and today we are going to put together blocks 7 and 8 of our Beginner Skill Builder Sampler Quilt. Welcome back. We are on week 4, month 7 of our Beginner Skill Builder Sampler Quilt. This month we did 2 different sets of quarter square triangles, and we're going to end up with 2 different blocks. So we're doing 7 and 8 today. Week 1, we went over how to make mirrored quarter square triangles like these. So you should have a set of these. They are trimmed to 4.5 inches square. And then week 2, we made quarter square triangles that all look the same. So you should have 4 of these trimmed to 4.5 inches square. I didn't come up with anything for tip week, so we are bypassing tip week this week and going on and finishing these 2 blocks. So here is our mirrored one. As you can see, we have the green and the teal are next to each other, and so it gives it a fun look. And here are our quarter square triangle block that are all the same. We're going to put a fun color in the middle so it creates a cool diamond. Okay, what do you need? It's the same thing, same way to put both blocks together, same set of quarter square triangles, so it's super simple. For our mirrored one, you should have 4 quarter square triangles trimmed at 4.5 inches. You also need a middle block, middle background square, 4.5 inches. You need and then the 4 corners, 4.5 inches as well, background fabric. Okay, this one, you should have 4 quarter square triangles, all trimmed 4.5 inches, okay? Our center is gonna be a little different on this one. I have a colored square, and it's the same color as this one in the middle. So you're putting the blue right next to the dark blue. Okay, and then squares, corners, 4.5 inch square corners. Okay, questions? Hopefully not. Okay, what else do we need? You're going to need a sewing machine, iron, make sure it's nice and hot. A square, I'm using a 12.5 inch square to trim it up at the end. You need one at least that big, or we can definitely figure out how to do it besides that. And a rotary cutter, cutting mat, iron. I have white thread. If you have any questions about, if you just want to see the items I'm using, the supplies, I do put links down in the description box that go to Amazon, so you can check them out. Okay, that's it. Gather your stuff together. We're going to end up with 2 blocks, which is super exciting because that means we are almost done. Okay, these are going to be super quick and easy. We're not going to have to line up any of the points, and it's going to be super simple. So I have my ones that are not mirrored and my ones that are mirrored, and we're just going to I'm going to work with the ones that are mirrored, but I will also show you how to do the other ones. So this one is set up so that you have the light blue in the middle. You're going to have the green mirrored. See, if I put it here, those are opposite. So I want to put it here so that these teal ones are next to each other. And then the teal here, the green here, and that's how we want to set up. These are all trimmed to 4.5 inches. Then we're going to stick a 4.5 inch square on each corner. Okay, and because everything's 4.5 inches, we're gonna stick a 4.5 inch square there in the middle. And this is our setup. I know you know how to do this. We've done this several times, so I'm just gonna make, this is gonna be quick and easy. We're gonna fold over the right piece on each of them. Okay. Line up the sides, the right sides, and we're gonna do 1/4 inch seam right down each of those. Okay, I'll take those to my sewing machine. I'm gonna just show you how to set this one up real quick. Blue is in the middle. We're just gonna make this fun. Do a dark blue in the middle. Dark blue is facing the middle on these. And because this one is not mirrored, these are all the same, we have purple and green next to each other. And then the 4.5 inch background fabric is gonna go in each corner. So these are all 4.5 inch square trimmed, 4.5 inch and 4.5 inch. We're gonna fold these over just like on the other one. Line up those edges. And sew a 1/4 inch seam down each one. So take those all to the sewing machine and I'll meet you back here. Okay, have them all sewn. We are going to put, we have a 1/4 square triangle on this side. We have a solid print, no sewn piece on it. So I'm just gonna iron them all that way. So you put the background side up, set your seam, finger press it open, and get that seam once again. And we're gonna just do that with all of them. And what this is gonna allow us to do is to nest the seams and make sure that the blocks lay nice and flat where we are sewing them together. Okay, do that. Well, I guess I might as well just do it with these ones as well. Set the seams so they don't move. Finger press them open. Okay, we have them all sewn. Let's put our block back together. Let's get it the right way. Okay, we have our next pieces. Okay, we're just going to fold them over like this. Take them to your sewing machine, 1/4 inch seam all the way down. Now with these ones, either, if you look here, either I trimmed my block wrong or I trimmed my fabric wrong, because we have a huge gap right there. So I guess we'll see what happens when I go to trim it up. Okay, we have this going towards the solids, the non-sewn ones, or we've got seams going this way and we have these seams going this way. So when we go to fold them over and sew them in rows, they're gonna nest nicely. Okay, here's our other block. Just like on the last one, we're going to fold them over and sew 1/4 inch right down each of those. Go get those sewn and I'll meet you back here. Okay, I'm just gonna show you how to do this one and we'll get it all put together. You're gonna put this fabric up, put your 1/4 square triangles down, and fold it back. And that allows, this is our center row. Our seams are going towards the center here. This one is an end row. And find my other piece. Okay. All right, and you're just gonna iron these ones just the same way. We're gonna put these together just like this. Okay, get that thread out of the way. Okay, and as you can see, we still have our greens here, our teals here, and our light blues all going towards the middle. So that is exactly how we want it to go. We're going to fold this over. We want to line up these seams so that they nest. This one is going this way, and this one is going this way. So nest them nice and pretty. Line up that edge. Okay, and then you want to nest these seams as well. Okay, and really, if you run your finger right along this seam, you can tell when they're overlapping or when they're not. And if they're not overlapping, that means you're gonna have a great seam. So get this one sewn on, then you're going to get that one sewn on and meet me back here. Okay, I have both of these all sewn together. We have both sides on, completed blocks. So now we need to do a final iron to get them laying all nice and flat. So I'm just going to set that seam, fold it open. Okay, flip it around and then do the other edge. All right, and there is our mirrored block. And let's just get this one. I like how this one turns out because it has that dark in the middle and it kind of creates a different pattern. You see a diamond pattern coming out in the middle as opposed to just a square. And so I thought if we were gonna do two blocks that were almost the same, that it would be fun to do a colored center so that we could make it look slightly different. Okay, let's get the iron put away. And last, we just need to get this trimmed up. These are, once again, 12.5 inches square. I'm gonna use my 12.5 inch square. So it makes it super easy. Okay, where am I lining up? Up here in this corner, this should be at 4 1/4. 4 1/4 line should go top to bottom and side to side. This corner should be at 8 1/4. So the 8 1/4 line should line up that way and this way. As a whole, it looks pretty good. I guess only the top really that I need to trim it. Make sure my square stays in place. I'm gonna give it a good flip just to make sure. Yep. And there we go. Don't really need to do any trimming. Now let's go look at this one. I pointed out to you that I have a top edge that something didn't get trimmed right or cut right, and it looks like it was my square. So my square is not square. And so if I line up my 4 1/4 and this goes on this seam and this goes on this seam, you can see how it should be here, but my goes right there. Now, it's okay if it's only off a little bit like that. I'm just gonna let it be. And when I go to sew it, let's pretend, this isn't how we're doing it, but let's pretend that we're sewing these two together like this. When I go to sew them together, I'm gonna line up this corner and see how this comes down like this. I'm just going to follow this bottom edge when I sew them together, and it won't even matter that they don't line up. So that is what you do if you get it just slightly off. Now, if it's a 1/4 of an inch off, then you're gonna have problems because you won't have that 1/4 inch seam allowance. So a little bit there and a little bit there. Yep, looks good. Okay, so here we have block 7. I call this one block 7, the mirrored one, and block 8. And we have 2 more blocks done and ready for our quilt. What? Okay, 2 more minutes, okay? All right, we have both blocks put together. We have our mirrored one. Okay, 4 1/4 square triangles, and we have our all the same 1/4 square triangles. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below and I will get back to you and answer those questions. Other than that, make sure you like and subscribe, and I will see you next week where we are going to tackle our final block, block 9 of our Beginner Skill Builder Sampler Quilt. Happy sewing!